positions of power are never peaceful.
This film is about the relationship between a student and his hero.
Cameron King. Great meeting you. I damn near worshiped you growing up.
Who are you?
Arnell!
Who are you?
Arnell!
Him means the GOAT.
The greatest of all time. Legend, man.
The one person who deserves respect among all others.
Kim's training to get to that next level.
And this film begs the question,
To be a star, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Activate my head.
Look, we got 3 cops here. They can't put no suspect. They can't find the suspect.
This shit crazy. I'm
Let's
just
go.
running my fucking feds, bro.
Let's go.
No fucking reason, dog.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
This shit. Nothing,
Huh?
right? Oh my God.
BT.
Fuck out of here, man.
Let's go. We done took over the city in 24 hours. You would have thought that Batman came outside. We really sitting on houses. Nigga, that's not your block and that's not your whip. Nigga, this city is ours. Fuck around, catch you in traffic and stop your car. You better have you a bomb, bitch. You better have you a back. 10 times years in the back. 10 times years in the face. Lockdown, sit down, make you a bag. Black truck, hot box, making them skate. All that standing on the block shit day. All that sleeping on the block shit day. And we missing everybody out that's dead.
Crazy.
Let's go.
Let's go. No fucking reason, dog.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Listen.
All right. What I want to do is
Time lapse on the glasses. Gonna be our first thing this morning. Yo, good morning. Trying to get this camera set up for a time lapse. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to jack this up a little bit. All right, and the time lapse is running. I have to change brushes. I don't like this brush. This shit working already. Wendy, good morning. I was trying to make a time lapse video. So I got that one. And then we have this one. So I might post these today. How's your day going, Wendy? Big Friday? Yeah, the glasses really just put her face together. Now the last thing I'll work on is her hair and her jewelry. Wednesday's the new term. Our school started back yesterday. We started back this Wednesday, and yeah, that's why I went in and did the sign ups yesterday. She says, "Fuck that! About to go get me some ginger biscuits. Get my snacks ready." Yeah, I love anything ginger. Man, ginger is so good. I ordered a pack of these detail brushes, but of course, as always, I've been trying to buy like cheap shit, and I don't even like when they're brand new, fresh out the pack. These brushes are just not great. I might try to order some different brushes. Hmm. Okay. Your own cat won't let you pick her up? That's crazy. Cats be like, fuck humans. I'm your master, bitch. They come around when they want to. They don't fuck with you when they don't want to fuck with you. And it's like, they'll let you know when they're ready to be petted. Like, human, pet me. Like, cats are fucking weird animals, yo. Do not, I order you, do not pick me up. Like, fuck you, cat. I've never had a cat. My uncle loves cats. He's had cats his whole life. All right, so I'm gonna put these. Wow. I'm gonna put these on my social media because this painting will be done soon, so I gotta get some hype up for it. I want to put both of these videos together, so we're gonna do which one is it? One shot. Gonna do this one. I'm gonna make a video, a new video. I want to use this one first and then this one. Okay. I'm gonna add those. And then if I watch it play through, see if I need to clip it. This was the skin tone. Man, it seems like a long video, but damn, how long is it? It's exactly a minute and 2 seconds long. So I think for an Instagram story has to be 60 seconds. So if I can snip, where can I snip a second from? All right, I got it down to 59.7 seconds. Okay, and now I'm gonna add some audio, add music, imported music.
Yeah, for the art. Trap House Entertainment. Yeah, for the art. Trap House Entertainment. Yeah. Do it for the art. Do it for the love. Do it for the heart. Give a fuck who judge. Do it for the art. Do it for the love. Do it for the heart. Give a fuck who judge. Yeah, my team made it. Y'all niggas hating. Still chasing. New places. For hanging. New paintings. 2025, about to go crazy. Fuck you. Hate me. Wait till they see. I live a legend and I've been sketching. Since a young boy, I've been.
I'm gonna cut out the intro on the music to see if I can get to the part about the details.
Yeah. Do it for the heart. Give a fuck who judge. Do it for the art. Do it for the art. Do it for the.
Oh my god, this thing is so finicky.
Do it for the art.
Alright, well, if I started there.
Do it for the art. Do it for the love. Do it for the heart. Give a fuck who judge. Yeah, my team made it. Y'all niggas hating. Still chasing. New places. For hanging. New paintings. 2025, about to go crazy. Fuck you. Hate me. Wait till they see. I live a legend and I've been sketching. Since a young boy, I've been drawing. I'm a real artist, no second guessing. My stroke game, that's real fresh. My details, that's real extra. 14 by 16. 24 by 24. 36 by 48. I get it in, you know I'm straight. Yeah, you know I'm slanging pain.
That's it right there. Oh, you know what, motherfucker? I didn't have to put the music in there because my music is live. You know what? So now the music is embedded in the video, but I'm gonna still throw my music on top of it so it can have the tag, my music tag on there. Why? I don't know why I did that. Okay, man. Every time you create a video with this thing, they really want you to like watch their fucking ads. I get it. It's free. Thank you. I appreciate you for being a free software editor or video editor. But if it's gonna be free, make it all the way free. Skip this shit, man. Did you save? I gotta make sure it saved it. Okay. Now it's saved for sure. Right? Then we're gonna go to Instagram. Go to Instagram. We're gonna add.
We talking lab, teachers got mad, but we got good grades, you do the math. And both of our bags had way too much swag. The Black Knight way too crazy with a pen and a pad. Like a mad scientist in a lab, got a taste of the street life. Pause, then we hit the dab. Hand over fist, making cash. I love my nigga like a brother, nothing never changing that. Brother from a different mother.
Yes, I am my brother's keeper.
All right, tell the camera what you think about life.
Sucks, but I'm playing football right now,
Cause we always talking like.
All right, we're gonna add this. So it says in the video, but for the art is come on. No.
Do it for the art, do it for the love.
Wait a minute.
Do it for the art.
Now
Do it for the art.
I don't know if I want the original version. I forgot what this version sound like. Son of a bitch.
Y'all niggas hating still. My deep. Yeah, you know I'm slinging pain. Do it for the up, do it for the love, do it for the art, do it for the heart.
Why I like this version better? Right?
Niggas hating, still chasing, new places for hanging, new paintings. 2025, about to go crazy. Fuck you, hate me, wait till they see. I live a legend and I've been sketching. Since a young boy, I've been drawing. I'm a real artist, no second guessing. My stroke game, that's real pressure. My details, that's real extra. Real extra, real extra.
my man is fucking jamming. Yo, my man is really grooving with that music. Yo, I might have to share that shit. That's too good.
I remember late nights, busy hallways driving me psycho.
I don't know, man. Me and this guy, I think our painting styles just look so similar sometimes.
The rest of y'all stuck in the rut. Niggas double cross and talk behind your back. See, that's where the night go. I guess they wasn't fucking with us. Some niggas get the luck of the draw. For others, life is a dice roll. And waiting on fate ain't for us. When you young, you realize.
That's why I said it'd be the time-lapse videos that a lot of artists post too. But see how he does his style, right? So he does tone his canvas, but it doesn't look like he does an underpainting. Like the face has so much detail to it already, and he didn't even like paint the hat or anything. He like focuses on one area of the canvas and paints that shit completely before he moves on to another section. Is like, I don't know. It seems like he does all this shit with one layer of paint.
I remember late nights, busy hallways driving me psycho. The money wouldn't come fast enough. We was back and forth down streamline, moving weight was like light bulb.
That's Chinese.
If horror lit is your
And I want to be clear. I know some of us love our children, but some of our children are so far gone that we would have to put some of them to sleep in order to take back the neighborhood. Some of y'all don't want to hear that because you don't live in reality. But I'm telling you, as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep. Fuck that! And I want to be clear.
Yo, did this nigga fully cut out?
Here's
Yo,
people.
she was like, what the fuck?
You can't air that up. There's nothing you can air up there. Brother, you see this shit? You see this? No, you can't go home with that.
I can't.
You can't go home
My
with that.
house is 4 minutes up the street. I'm going home.
All right, if you get pulled over, that's on you. I'm telling you, call an Uber from here.
A few moments later.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Oh man. Oh man.
A few moments later.
Bro, she's back.
A few moments later.
Yeah, your shit's fucked.
Can y'all back the fuck up?
Hey, give us first, Harvey.
Can y'all back the fuck up?
Wait a minute.
There's nothing you can air up there.
Yo, what is going on with this lady?
Brother, you see this shit? You see this?
I'm going home.
No, you can't go home with that.
I can't.
You can't go home
My
with that.
house is 4 minutes up the street. I'm going home.
All right, if you get pulled over, that's on you. I'm telling you, call an Uber from here.
A few moments later.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Yo!
A few moments later.
Bro, she's back.
A few moments later.
Yeah, your shit's fucked.
Can y'all back the fuck
Hey,
up?
Garrett's first time.
Can y'all back the fuck up?
I'll treat
Can y'all back the fuck up? Back the fuck up. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I know y'all trying to do it. But
We'll
like,
be back for air again.
I know that's not good. I just need to get beat the fuck up.
2,000 years later.
Hey, don't. Yeah, we are disrespectful as hell. You come back here 3 times. I told you call the fucking Uber.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Call the Uber.
You in public. Anybody can record you in public.
Okay, get home safely. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Get home safely.
Why are you still recording?
For mom protection.
You're violating me.
I'm not violating you.
For violating.
We're violating you.
I'm sorry. Yep, here we go. Yep, here we go. Nope, you can't.
Yeah, it's
Oh my God.
it's up.
She was like, "You're violating me." No, you're in public. You have no fucking reason to think that you have privacy when you're in a fucking parking lot of a fucking gas station. Trying to put air in a tire that's fucking blown off the rim. The tire is blown off the rim. You're drunk, shorty. You're drunk, shorty. Go home. I would have tried. Your house is 4 minutes down the street. You should have walked home.
OBGYN, how may I help you?
Hello,
Hello?
is this the GYN doctor?
Yes, it is.
Hi, my name is Fred, and I was looking to speak with somebody because I think my girlfriend gave me something. Does the GYN doctor see men?
No, unfortunately, we do not
I
see
think
men.
she gave me crabs. Because there's these little bugs down there fighting on me. Can she treat me or I have to go somewhere else?
I think it's best if you go to like the emergency room.
But it comes from a vagina. That happens though, honey. And I don't want to go anywhere else. My girlfriend said she comes to this doctor.
So then okay, just give me one moment.
How long is this gonna be?
It's just one moment. I'm just gonna ask the question to the provider.
It's like I'm having a crab boil down there. I don't even know what to do anymore. Can I do something over the counter, bitch?
Okay, so
Are these edible crabs? Like, if I gather them together, can I put it in a pot?
Now you just fucking. Now she knows you just fucking with her. Are these edible crabs? What the hell? Yo, her whole front end is done. The whole front end is done, son. Like, what did you, shorty? You're being mad disrespectful right now. You're being mad drunk and a fucking nuisance to society right now. That's what you're doing. And this shit is funny as fuck. I'm gonna record you, bitch. I think when the cops pull up, she was like, "Can I get in your car?" Bitch, you just told me I'm violating your privacy and all this shit. Now you wanna fucking hide in my car? No. No. She was like, "All right, I'm going inside then." Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Still got you. I don't know. I've driven after like a drink or two, but like I've only been like really like intoxicated only a few times ever. I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of being drunk where you can't obviously like her drive a fucking car. Like, I don't know why do you want to feel like that? Alcohol it feels rough after a while. So like anytime I've ever been inebriated, like I'm not about to try to fucking drive, dummy. Like, what are you doing? I'm not about to fucking drive. Even if I remember this was just not too long ago. I was here, home, and I had a couple of drinks. Somebody was like, "Let's go do something." I'm like, "Bro, I just had 2 fucking drinks. I'm not about to come out the house now." No sir, no sir. Anything happen the first day, I smell alcohol on your breath. It's a wrap right there. I got dreads and shit too. No, nah. Get out of the car, sir. Put your hands on your head. God damn, bro. I just had a fucking beer. I'm gonna have to get some breakfast soon.
About you, but I am tired of paying $200 plus every month for AI art tools like Midjourney.
Look at me with my daughter. You young Americans need to have kids.
So firebrand Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, boy, he's really stirred it up. He's been accused of being a CIA plant to divide to prop up neocons and take down people who are fighting the neocons. So Nick Fuentes is a firebrand. He's a young, I think he's 25 years old. He's been accused of a lot of things. He's been accused of being anti-Semitic. Who hasn't? He's been accused of being racist. Also, a lot of people in that boat. A little more evidence backing up on his side, though. But he really has a hard time. He doesn't like race mixing, but none of that has anything to do with this. He's now coming after Charlie Kirk. You know Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA. He's a major influencer on the right. He could get an audience with the president and stuff like that. So he's coming at him right now. Let's listen to Nick Fuentes. He goes right at Charlie Kirk. Let's listen.
Only the Republicans that support this. There is no other constituency in the world outside of Israel. Republicans that support this. Republicans that claim to be Christian. Republicans that claim to be compassionate Christians. America first, and they support America's encirclement to Israel as they commit a genocide of women and children. It's not right. Hypocrisy needs to be called out, and it's just not good enough what we're getting. Charlie Kirk and your focus group, fuck you. Focus group. Why don't you focus on?
Isn't that wow? That's bad. I think that's a real question. It's welcome to 2025, everybody. When we need to say "F you" to wake up a Christian. Okay, let's go back. Let's go. Keep going.
The suffering and call it out. Turning Point USA makes $80 million per year. $80 million per year. You have millions of followers. You claim to be a Christian. You claim to be America first. You want to do a focus group? You have an obligation to call out what is happening in Israel and who is doing it. You have an obligation with your money, with your organization, your platform, your reach, as a Christian, as an American, to call out that we are supporting evil on behalf of a foreign government. That is the epitome of everything you are against as a patriot, as a Christian, and you defend it. You've been silent, you defend it. Shame on you. I said that the other day. Charlie Kirk has his daughter running up to him on Fox and Friends, posts the clip, supposed to be public relations. Look at what a family man I am. Look at me with my daughter. You young Americans need to have kids. This up the other night, but I'll say it again. It's a good thing your daughter was born here, because if she was born there, if she was born in Beirut, if she was born in Syria, if she was born in Yemen, if she was born in Gaza, if she was born in Baghdad, if she was born in Erbil, if she was born in Iran, she could have gotten caught in the crossfire and gotten exploded into a million pieces by this country that you support for no good reason. So it's a good thing she was born here. She was born in any other one of those countries filled with innocent people that are being murdered, wouldn't have gone so high. And that's not me being a bleeding heart liberal. That's me saying all of this is unnecessary. It's not good for anyone other than Israel. It is not good for the United States. It is not good for the people living there. And it has gone so far beyond the pale of what is considered reciprocal.
Okay. Wow. First of all, Fuentes, when he's right, he's right. And he's right. And I don't mean just right wing. I don't appreciate the language he's using for Charlie Kirk. As a Christian myself, I don't know where that came out of nowhere. But that was really something. When I saw that, I didn't. First of all, maybe they already had a feud. Maybe they don't like each. Sounds like they probably already don't like each other. But because Charlie Kirk is a Zionist, and Nick Fuentes is the opposite by far of a Zionist. But it's nice to see. So he's a conservative, super duper conservative. He's Nick Fuentes, super duper conservative, meaning he doesn't even believe in that if race mixing through marriage. He thinks white people should marry white people, and Hispanic people should marry Hispanic people, and black people should, and you shouldn't mix it. It's bad for everybody. That's his view. Okay, I thought we all came from Africa. Isn't that where humanity originated? I don't know. I'm not a whatever the term for is for a person who knows about that stuff. I don't even know the term. I do know the term, but I can't think of it. Anyway, I thought there was some pretty strong fighting words, and a lot of people are suspicious of Nick Fuentes, right? So Tucker Carlson, Candace Owen, they said he was. I think they said he was plant. Maybe he was CIA. Did they say that? Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. That's. I think I'm pretty sure they said something like that. Like that he was there to divide and conquer, to subvert. But I don't know about that. I know a lot of people like Wuhan in the Rumble Rat says, I trust no influencer that magically comes out of nowhere and has a massive following overnight. Well, Nick didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, he's been around for a long time. And then he got banned immediately from every platform. So whether you think he's compromised now or what, he certainly wasn't then. He got banned. He just recently got let back on Twitter. and now he's on some platform called Cozy, I think. Have you heard of that? I've never heard of it.
I haven't heard it. Is it? Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. Is that paleontologist? Paleoanthropologist. That's the term you were thinking about.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mike. Paleo, and that is that's VAT. That's value added Timpson. Right there.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what is it called? The paleo home? I don't know. What is it again?
Paleoanthropologist. Paleoanthropologist.
Okay. Nick Fuentes, you know what? Could you do me a favor? This might bother people, but I'd like to hear it again.
Sure.
Republicans that support this. There is no other constituency in the world outside of Israel.
Pause. He's right about that. When you think about it, like I didn't ever even thought about it. It's like, wow. If there's only, but when he says there's only, he says constituency. What he means like voting people or regular civilians. Yeah, I mean the media still, right? So the media is still ubiquitous in apologizing. All the powerful in Europe, all the powerful in the UK. So the people in power are still supporting Israel. But there isn't any grassroots constituency that supports Israel outside of the Republican Party. Is that what he's saying? Is that what you hear when he says that?
Yes, that's what I hear.
Okay. I never even thought about it. So but I'm pretty sure the majority of Republicans no longer support Israel's genocide. They might support Israel. Maybe that's what he means also. But Democratic politicians also support Israel. What was that?
That was Timpson value added right now.
It sounded like one of those old ringers on a bike. Ding, ding, ding.
Yes. He was throwing a fit right now.
Is that a cash register? An old-timey cash register?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
What was that?
Mike was throwing the bell around the room.
Oh, that's what that is, the bell. Okay. Anyway, that's the Republican Party. There's no other constituency. So when he says Republican, I wish I had him on the show so I could ask him. Do you mean Republican Party meaning the leaders of the Republican Party? You mean the politicians? Do you mean the people who vote Republican?
I wish I could just watch live sports at home for a great price.
Choose and customize your channel layout, or pause and watch for free. Sling lets you do that. Base pack required.
A base package required. I heard you say that shit at the end, bro. So that means I gotta get a subscription
from
to this
RVZ
shit.
for a family getaway. The booking process was easy, and the owner even delivered the RV right to our campsite. Their extensive selection of RVs and excellent customer service ensures a stress-free and enjoyable experience from start to finish. I highly recommend RVZ. Head to their website or download the RVZ app to find the right RV for your next getaway. Trust me when I say it will be a trip to remember.
But anyway, let's keep going.
But I just want to say that it doesn't really matter. It's the military that is in support of this. It doesn't. When has our government in the last 75 years listened to the will of the people?
It's not the I don't think the military. I think the military has to do what the president says. Yeah, it's the Republican president, but it's both. It's bipartisan support of the elected politicians. But no doubt, even Bernie Sanders is a cuck when it comes to Israel. So let's keep going.
It is the Republicans that support this. Republicans that claim to be Christian, Republicans that claim to be compassionate Christians, and America first, and they support America's encirclement to Israel as they committed genocide of women and children. That hypocrisy needs to be called out, and it's just not good enough what we're getting. Charlie Kirk and your focus group, fuck you. Focus group, why don't you focus on the suffering and call it out?
Buzz, hey, why don't you focus on this?
Yes, right.
I got something for you to focus on, huh? Right here. Why don't you focus on this? Okay, keep going.
Turning Point USA makes $80 million per year. $80 million per year. You have millions of followers. You claim to be a Christian. You claim to be America First. You want to do a focus group? You have an obligation to call out what is happening in Israel and who is doing it. You have an obligation with your money, with your organization, your platform, your reach, as a Christian, as an American. Wow, that we are supporting evil on behalf of a foreign government. Epitome of everything you are against as a patriot, as a Christian, and you defend it. In silent, you defend it. Shame on you. I said that the other day. Charlie Kirk has his daughter running up to him on Fox and Friends. This is the clip. And that is supposed to be public relations. Look at what a family man I am. Look at me with my daughter. You young Americans need to have kids. This up the other night, but I'll say it again. It's a good thing your daughter was born here, because if she was born there, if she was born in Beirut, if she was born in Syria, if she was born in Yemen, if she was born in Gaza, if she was born in Baghdad, if she was born in Erbil, if she was born in Iran, could have gotten caught in the crossfire and gotten exploded into a million pieces by this country that you support for no good reason. So it's a good thing she was born here. Was born in any other one of those countries filled with innocent people that are being murdered, wouldn't have gone so hot. And that's not.
So I think what he's saying is, first of all, he does have the gift of oratory. I'll tell you that.
Definitely.
And so what he's saying is the only so and I'm thinking about it now more. He's calling out Republican voters and people who are backers of the Republican Party who claim they're America First, like Charlie Kirk. He's calling them out. And I don't think there's, in the polls, I don't think there's any Democrats that support this, but there are Republicans who. But there's no other voting bloc anywhere in the world that supports this besides inside the Republican Party. I'm pretty sure that's what he means. And he's called them out at, self-described Christians. Charlie Kirk's a big self-described Christian. And I think it's also a good point where he says, you're not just quiet about it, you're vocally defending, which is something else, right? But also at the same time, I'll give props to Charlie Kirk because he brought Dave Smith to his Turning Point, whatever you call that thing.
Oh, that event, right.
Yeah, he let Dave Smith talk. He let him be. He also brought Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson had a different point of view. So I got to give props to in a sense, to Charlie Kirk for that. I mean, he's doing more than most. And but yeah, good on Nick. I would say good on Nick Fuentes for calling out the Republican constituency, as he put it, for saying they're Christian and then being completely anti-Christian. And I got your focus group right here. You know what else I got? I got tickets for you to come see me do stand-up in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Chicago, Rosemont, Illinois, Fort Wayne, Louisville, Appleton, Wisconsin, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, and San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Come see me on tour in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
Save time creating content and generate a high-quality clone of your voice with 11 Labs. Change the way you record podcasts, voiceovers, and branded content with the #1 AI-powered voice-generating technology. Stop searching for the perfect voice and stop wasting time re-recording take after take. Try 11 Labs for free and start elevating your content today.
horrible what Israel's doing is, and it's how clearly it's not in our national interest. This is destroying our domestic tranquility. We got protests, we got people fighting over this stuff. We're pissing off the Muslim world again, which we've already had to deal with, at least to Ehud Omar and Ehud Barak, both former prime ministers of Israel, have come out and said Netanyahu's committing war crimes. So that's where your debate is at this point.
So recently, Dave Smith went on Joe Rogan's podcast to explain why the Israel first argument is dead, and how 22 months after Israel's warpath of destruction in Gaza, so many Americans have come to believe that this mentality of supporting Israel at all costs is counterintuitive. He gets real fired up in this one, so let's take a look at this. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
It's you know, I was just looking at this the other day, though, where it's like, which is really, you know, even to me, is kind of something I would not have been able to even fathom or predict a couple of years ago. But the way in which every demographic has turned against Israel over this shit in Gaza, except essentially boomer Republicans who are still as strong as they've ever been in supporting them. But Israel it's really in many ways like the third rail of American politics. Like, this is the thing you are not allowed to talk about. This is the thing that would get you fired from CNN, would get you kicked out of DC, would get your career ruined. You know, Pat Buchanan made a joke once on the McLaughlin group, like years ago, like decades ago. He made a joke once where he said something about, he said Congress is Israel-occupied territory or something like that. And he, for the rest of his career, this was the scandal. This was...
Well, he had a pretty good case for that, and more so, but Dave's right. I guess this is the third rail. Boomer conservatives still supporting Israel, but the rise of the independent media, I think, has made a lot of people question this relationship for the first time.
Hit pieces were written about this. Now, the young people are totally outside of that ecosystem. And they're just hearing from different people. And they're like, no, I'm not buying it. And it's, you know, I think it's a mix of a few things. Like, I think it's just that, you know, we have technology, it's in 4K. You can see what Israel's doing to Gaza. It is so evil that it's damn near impossible to find a way. I mean, some people do, but it is really difficult to find a way to be like, I'm actually okay with that. It's been going on for years at this point. And then the second thing is just that, like, the relationship between the U.S. government and the Israeli government is so freaking bizarre that once you see it, and once a whole generation of young people see it, it's like impossible for them to unsee it. And you know, it's just too weird.
New York City mayoral palm.
Yeah, like it's just, and the idea that it is, you know, the idea that it's just accepted as normal that the politicians for your country must worship this other country. And you're like, so what, did that other country like beat us in a war and they're occupying us now?
Yeah, it's so perverted, and you see this ritualistically play out as U.S. politicians and the U.S. presidents go over to Jerusalem. They cry on the wall. They put on a yarmulke. They go through that process. It's a humiliation ritual. Does the Speaker of the Knesset do that in the United States? You know, worship, you know, the Washington Memorial, cry on the Vietnam Wall? No, of course not. This is an odd relationship. People are waking up to it, and it is so absurd. But Dave's exactly right. It is because this is being streamed now. It's in our face. I actually think there would have been a lot more opposition to the Iraq War, for instance, early on, if you had so many videos and, you know, torturous situations, all the destruction, all the rubble, children being pulled up dead from the rubble, the starvation campaign that we had going, the GHF closing down 400 aid stations, reducing it to 4. Things like that would be in our face, and that's why they tried to ban Twitter. Let's just be real about it. They might ultimately succeed in that, but the idea that it was over China was absurd. So Dave's right. It is the third rail in politics. Tides are changing. People's mentalities are shifting in this direction. It hasn't panned out in political outcomes yet. I hope it will in the future. I have no doubt that it will to some extent in 10 years. Will AIPAC lose all of its power? Probably not, but it is heading in that direction.
And you're like, no, you're the superpower. They're your welfare country, you know? But yet you must go kiss their wall. You must say, Tammy Bruce from the State Department. I know she was kind of being tongue-in-cheek, Or she goes, we're the greatest country in the world. Well, second greatest to Israel. You're like, what?
Was she being tongue in cheek?
I don't know exactly. She
It was
kind
like
of
weird. So I watched that video and I don't think she was tongue in cheek. Like, honestly, watch that video. Don't take it from me. Don't take my word for it. But it seemed like she was being honest about that opinion.
It was it's still, that is a weird thing for any representative of your government to say. If anyone sat there and said, just went, you know, I think America's the greatest country in the world. Well, Finland, I guess, is the greatest, and we're number 2. You'd be like, what? I'm like, Finland's a cool country. I got nothing against them, but what are you talking about? You know? But really, I do think it's the relationship. It's how horrible what Israel's doing is, and it's how clearly it's not in our national interest, but how bad the Israeli PR game is. You know, and that like it's almost like they were just so accustomed to the old way of doing things.
They were so accustomed to people being terrified
Yeah, you
of
can't-
being labeled anti-Semitic.
Yeah, someone criticizes you, you label them as a bigot, and you destroy their lives, and
Even
that works.
for
It doesn't
like
work anymore.
minor jokes.
Yeah.
I wish I could just watch live sports at home for a great price.
A struggle. Jesus.
Well,
yeah, some people are still scared about that. I can't really blame them, but Dave's right. It's not working anymore to the extent that it once did. And Dave's right. Even if you sympathize with Israel to an extent, compared to, say, the Palestinians, this is a backward policy regardless. It's not America first. Why intervene and get into these entangling alliances that the founders warned about? It doesn't pay us any dividend. It doesn't give us any benefit. Americans aren't helped in buying groceries easier or filling up their cars with fuel. It's just a backward policy, and it really expands all the turmoil that we feel domestically because the Fed prints money to support it and fund it. And we go into debt to support it. And we're $37 trillion in debt now because of supporting Israel at all costs. Not just that, but that's a big contributing factor.
And there's like, I think it's so I've been using this like analogy comparison lately. And I think like, so if you remember when Joe Biden had that disastrous debate,
$37 trillion in debt, the United States. In debt to fucking who? The fucking federal banking system. Who runs the federal banking system? The fucking Jews. Got them by the balls. Got them by the balls. $37 trillion in debt. But we still fund another country's army. What the fuck? I don't understand it. And I don't understand why more people don't just be like, what the fuck? They say, does our funding of Israel help Americans get gas and groceries cheaper somehow? No, it doesn't. It just puts us further in debt. I think we should stop that. And the billions that we send them each year, we should try to use that for America first, maybe. Since it is our tax dollars. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna lie, that scared me a little bit. A little bit. Amizu, good morning. Bonnie D TV was good. All right. So we actually hold on. We finished the glasses this morning. Then we did the jewelry, her necklace. Added some little highlights to the necklace and to the bracelets on this side and the bracelets on this side. And now I'm just trying to brighten up some of the white patches. I really don't think I'm gonna touch this green or gray or anything, but there are some spots that I think I can make whiter. So I'm gonna add white to the camouflage and see if that gives it enough contrast alone. Like I said, I really don't want to touch any of the other colors, strictly because I'm lazy. If the white doesn't do it justice by itself, I may try to do some of the gray areas a little bit, but I ain't even sure about that, bro. I'm telling you now. But yeah, the glasses, her bracelets and necklace, and now the pants. Onto the pants. One way or other, it'll look. Hey, it ain't got to be straight. It just got to look straight. It just got to look straight. Well. Motherfuckers can't stop texting me when I'm trying to paint. Well. Motherfuckers don't stop texting me when I'm trying to paint. Blowing up my phone number. Baby, use the wrong number.
With Donald Trump. And everybody, like the debate opens, and everybody watching it knows this is over. Joe Biden is done. I mean, it was so bad, but it's not just that it was so bad. I mean, it's the, before the debate, there's Rachel Maddow at a desk with a bunch of people. We're now going to the first presidential debate. Joe Biden's going to kick his ass. They were already talking about how it was, remember the term deep fakes that they came up with, where or cheap fakes, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
was
cheap
fakes.
fakes.
It's not a deep fake, but it's kind of like a deep fake. See, they're showing you a real video of Joe Biden being senile, but see, that's just as fake as a deep fake because they didn't include the context or something like that.
Yeah, it's like saying Randy Fine is actually a star athlete. He's a big time bodybuilder. I mean, in film that you see him, he looks overweight, obese, but just behind the curtains, if you go away from the allure of spectacle, he's actually ripped. He's a star athlete. He can run a 3-second 40. All this nonsense that you would have heard about that is just absurd as what we heard about Biden. But Dave's right. I mean, trying to hide that is like hiding Israel's atrocities now. Americans know better now.
That was the talking point that right before we go into the debate. The debate cuts, it goes back to the same panel, and they go, we got to find a new candidate. Like they acknowledge that. And part of the reason why we...
Especially when you got a grumpy cat that doesn't like being picked up. My coworker, she has 2 cats, and she had to do, one of them has like a cyst or something over its eye, and so she was like, vet visit, and she was like, yo, as soon as she pulled that fucking carrying case out, that cat goes fucking bonkers, yo. As soon as it sees that shit, it's like, no, I'm not going in a fucking box, bitch. And then once she can wrangle the cat into the fucking carrying thing, gets it in the car, she's just fucking bleeding, yelling bloody Mary the whole fucking ride. So she's like, her cats fucking hate to go in the car, hate to go in a fucking cage. I couldn't even imagine. I know my ex's dog, like, hated to be groomed, yo. Just going to the groomers and getting the trim and a wash and all that shit, yo, that fucking dog would just bark the entire time. Bro, you're getting shampooed and massaged, and they're giving you snacks and shit. Like, calm the fuck down. You're not even getting shot. This ain't even a vet. They about to trim your nails and give you a bath. That dog fucking hated that shit, yo. You just called the vet like, look, yeah, this shit ain't gonna happen today. Nah, I tried for the last 30 minutes to get this cat in the carrier, and yeah, not today. I'm tired. Now she's under the refrigerator. I can't get her from under the fridge. Can we reschedule for another day? I'm gonna have to wait till it's nighttime, dress in all black, get some night vision goggles, and sneak up on this bitch to get her in this goddamn carrier. I look at that cat like, bitch, I own you. I own you in your whole fucking existence. Without me, you wouldn't be eating or nothing. Well, you probably would be eating, but not as good as you eating now. You want to go be an alley cat somewhere with the mange and fleas? That's what you want? You want the mange and fleas? I'll put your ass outside, bitch, into the elements. Make you go hunt for your own food. Now you digging in the trash can, eating scraps, nibbling on dead birds and shit. You ain't want that kind of life. You ain't want that kind of life, Mr. Kitten. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you got it made. That's why I don't fuck with animals, man. Animals, once again, they think they own the humans. Man, I'm not about to cater to you like that. Just for your company. I gotta buy all your food, take care of all your medical expenses, and you still give me shit. Look here, animal. Think they run shit, man. They think they run shit. They spray one time, this is my territory. No, it's not. Why are you spraying my fucking shoes? That's not yours. I own this now. Just the hairballs. Once you get them, what it's spayed, they don't spray no more. But they'll look you dead in your face and start. Wait a minute. You can take that shit outside, man. Oh boy, I got to eat something soon. I don't know what I'm gonna have though. I got a piece of steak in there. Hit that old classic steak and eggs real quick, you know what I'm saying? Hit that steak and eggs on them in a heartbeat. You know what? That's what I might do, man. I might fry up 2 eggs real quick. Pop that piece of steak in the microwave. Breakfast done, son. Not after the sock. Oh my god. Fucker. Now I don't know, anything on the wet sock just feels like it's one of the grossest feelings. Wet socks, and then it's cat throw up. Now I gotta fucking change my fresh ass socks and clean up your fucking mess. I literally just put these fucking socks on. What were you eating? What were you eating? Look at you, son of a. I don't know. It's something about a fucking wet sock. Well, I can't hardly stand that shit. unless I absolutely know it's gonna happen. Because last time I went hiking, we were hiking around some waterfalls and stuff like that. You're gonna step in the puddle or whatever. You're expecting this though. If you're out in the elements like that, okay, your foot might get wet. You'll be all right. But like unexpectedly, I don't even care. It's just like a melted ice cube on the floor. It's just anything wet. Just like, oh, what the fuck? Whoa. What is that? The weirdest, though, I don't know. For me, the wet sock is just like, eh. Yeah, no, I'm changing the whole. You done fuck my mood up now. I gotta change both my socks, man. Keep a matching set. Yeah, no wet socks, bro. Which is the oldest domesticated animal, cats or dogs? Do you think we domesticated dogs first? Because they said some people say wolves just hung around people because there was food there. They was like, oh, these motherfuckers got food. We can get some scraps. And then the same thing about cats, though. They said that agriculture and storing of grain and different things like that would make rodent populations increase, which would attract cats, bigger cats. And so, like, cats were always just attracted to, the human civilization or establishments or villages or whatever. But who just the first person, like, you know what? Come here, wolf. Come here, Wolfie. You mine now. And then the wolf just be following somebody. They, like, bro, what the fuck? You're like, nah. He cool. He not like the other wolves. What do you mean he not like the other wolves? I raised him since a cub. And I feed him meat. And he loves me like I'm his wolf daddy. And so you just keep a wolf with you now? Yeah. Yeah, it's not even me keeping him with me. He just follows. This motherfucker follow me everywhere now. He won't leave. He's like, he's mine. Bro, yeah, domesticating animals around, I can imagine like that shit would have been strange as fuck seeing people with fucking animals and shit. Just like some of the natives, the ones who had horses and ones who didn't. I can just imagine seeing somebody ride up on the fucking horse for the first time. Like, what the fuck, nigga? What the fuck is that? It's my beast, my mount. Hell no. The first person to ride a horse, like, now you know what? I'm gonna jump on his fucking back. You gonna jump on his back and do what? Make this motherfucker take me where I want to go. You about to die. You about to die. Cause okay, hunting anything, any big quadruped for meat, I can understand that. Trying to eat this motherfucker. But travel is a very deep concept, bro, of I want to get from here to there, but faster. How can I do it faster than my body can allow me to go? Well, there's other animals who can move faster than I can. I'm gonna just ride this motherfucker. Yeah, see a motherfucker ride. Let me get one. Let me get one of these big ass animals. You call it a what? A horse? A horse? A horse? Horse. Okay. Come on, horse. Just train my horse to trample motherfuckers. I'm gonna be a goddamn Viking out this bitch. All right. Okay. My next move is to fix me some food. My next move is to fix me some food. My pants ain't looking too bad. I think that white just gonna do it by itself, man. You know what I'm saying? Make them just a little bit. Yeah, just that white makes a big difference on there. Well, in some spots I am like pulling out the gray. Like I really don't have to like mix a different color or add anything. I can just go over some of the gray spots, give it a little oomph. A little oomph. Something like that. I think that'll be just fine, man. We ain't doing too much with these pants. It took me so long to even lay that shit down. That first layer had me confused as a motherfucker. How to paint this down. Camouflage. I'm gonna go fry an egg or two. I'm just fry an egg up real quick, guys. Slap a piece of meat beside it. You know what I'm saying? Fry an egg up and slap some meat down. And then we'll be right back up in here. Or should I bring you guys downstairs with me? Shit. If I bring you guys downstairs with me, it'll be hard for me to bring you back up and my plate of food at the same time. I'll be back. Give me
Only what was
Five-
over in that
5
debate
minutes.
was it
Oh,
wasn't
my
just how
God.
bad the debate was. It was that now you have to admit this. You know, you were pretending this thing didn't exist. Now you got to admit it exists. And once you admit it exists, there's now a microscope on Joe Biden like there never was before. So tomorrow when he's doing an interview and he mixes up a name, that may not have been such a big deal 2 days ago. But after that debate performance, when he mixes up another name, now you're like, look, there it is again. He's senile. Everything became amplified after that point. And I think,
don't you think they set him up?
Yes, but sure, that's a whole separate issue. But yes, I do think they set him up. But I think a similar thing has happened with Israel, where now everyone's looking at it and everyone's watching and everyone's going, wait, what the hell is going on
That's a
here?
great analogy.
What is this?
Yeah.
So that a pedophile can just go flee to Israel. How many other pedophiles have gone and fled to Israel? And now it's like, oh my God, they've opened Pandora's box, and there's just, I think, no way to put this back in because it's too weird.
One of the most overpriced things I have ever seen be sold repetitively is men's razors. Going into the store and seeing that you have to spend like $20 every time you want to get replacement heads, or if you need a new wand entirely to attach them to, it's like $30, which is wild. I found these ones here on TikTok Shop. It comes with the metal attachment and then a bazillion and a half 5-blade razors. And you attach them the same way you do as the ones from the grocery store. You just snap them into the back and lift them out. Articulate, so really they're the same kind of thing that you're getting at the grocery store and you're paying like $30 for, except for that he could literally use a new one every week and be good for like almost a year. So if I could give you a suggestion, it would be stop wasting your money on the overpriced razors at the store and get them here from TikTok Shop and get a whole box and not have to think about it again until this time next year.
Yeah, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Americans now see this for what it is. And I think the parallels are inescapable here. I like that Dave compared it to the Biden sharp as a tack propaganda nonsense we got, because there are some similarities here. Because when it comes to Israel, America's minds are just, being perverted by propaganda. And then when they see the difference play out in terms of what leaks into independent media and Twitter, essentially, you just can't go back on this. It changes your life and your perspective to some extent, to the extent that people only watching cable news will never see. Just one big example, the other day, Israel bombed a hospital on live television, but there was precedent for that. It wasn't the first time they had bombed a hospital in Gaza. They bombed them before. But now they just upped the ante and bombed it on live television. You see this stuff play out over and over and over again.
It's too weird to not notice. And that doesn't mean you have to jump to the conclusion of you have to hate Jewish people or something like that. I'm not advocating anything like that. But you do kind of have to question the relationship between DC and Tel Aviv and what is going on here? Because this is so utterly bizarre. It's so crazy to see the American people are against what Israel's doing to Gaza. It obviously hurts it hurts our, as they use in the preamble to the Constitution, I like that phrase, domestic tranquility, right? This is destroying our domestic tranquility. We got protests, we got people fighting over this stuff. We're pissing off the Muslim world again, which we've already had to deal with, them hating our guts. Now
we're deporting students.
We're deporting legal residents because they had the wrong opinion. This is all, and it's impossible to not look at this and go hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just such a perverted relationship. And the U.S., the benefactor that gives all the money to Israel, $4 billion a year, but last year it was $20 billion. It might be $20 billion again, just because of October 7th. For some reason, that means you have to give Israel 5 times more money while Americans struggle here domestically. People don't ignore this. People watching this know. And it's just so odd. It's forcing people to think about issues and U.S. foreign policy in a way they never had before. And that's why this is one of my biggest sources of hope. It hasn't panned out or manifested in political victories for dissidents, anti-Israel dissidents like myself and like Dave, but I think it might ultimately do that. Like he said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
They don't have any answer for that. And, the other thing too is that it's just, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a lot of people now trying to jump off of the sinking ship. A lot of people who are even like supporters of Israel who are kind of going like, I think they are going a little too far on this one. And they're trying, because it's just, you can see the writing on the wall all over the place, man. Like you're going to be looked at. This is going to be the period. And it's not even like supporting the war in Iraq. It's like much worse than that, dude. Like you're just supporting this destruction. They just launched another offensive on Gaza City the other day. They're bombing rubble. Like it's just it's biblical levels of evil.
It surely is. Maybe 200,000 people have died. Israel itself says 62,000, probably on the low end. Plus, there's like 150,000 people presumed missing, the majority of which might be dead. Whistleblower Anthony Aguilar, who worked at GHF and exposed the starvation campaign there and the nonsense about them firing rounds into live crowds of people stampeding for food. He said that Gaza City is called the apocalypse zone. That is atrocious, and that is a result of the U.S. bankrolling this. It's not just the U.S., it's Netanyahu and his thirst for greater Israel to expand Israel's borders, not only into Gaza by occupying it officially, but also expanding the West Bank settlements. So this is a perverted crusade that the Zionists have been fighting for a long time, and they've used October 7th as the political capital to justify it and support it to the masses.
And we're sitting here, like, even as we're having this conversation now, I know, like, I remember, like, coming on the podcast, like, a couple years ago, and like, when this conflict first started, and then when it would go, and it was almost like I was coming on, like, to be like, look, let me present the argument for why we shouldn't support what Israel's doing here. And let me, like, try to, like, present the other side of the debate. I feel now like the debate's over. I don't even think there's like much of a debate to be had. I'll keep doing them if somebody wants to come debate about the issue. But what are we talking about here? Dude, South Africa brought a genocide case to the International Court of Justice. And the International Court of Justice ruled that what Israel was doing to Gaza was plausibly a genocide. 21 months ago. 21 months ago, they said this was plausibly a genocide. And the thing's gone on the entire time since then. There was a huge Haaretz piece a couple months ago about, because we've seen so many examples of this, but they had IDF soldiers off the record, and at least one on the record, saying that they were given orders to fire live rounds into the crowds of desperate people trying to get food. But literally, you're just having starvation throughout Gaza. I don't know if you saw this, dude. I mean, I actually found this hilarious, but I'm a comedian who has a real twisted, dark sense of humor. But the Free Press, Barry Weiss's publication, ran a piece debunking the starvation in Gaza. And one of the examples that I'm not making this up, like, you can go look at this. I'm very close to exactly accurate on this. One of the examples. Picked was it like a kid who was starving to death, and their attempt at debunking it was that actually this kid had another major issue when an Israeli bomb cracked his skull.
Yeah, just think about that. Let that sink in. It wasn't starvation. It was being hit by a bomb that did him in, and that's supposed to placate any kind of skepticism toward Israel, any criticism toward Israel, and a warpath of destruction and death and genocide. Look, it's absurd. And Dave's right. Haaretz has been covering critics of Israel within Israel. Yair Golan, who is the leader of an opposition party in Israel, has put it, very plainly as can be, that Netanyahu's a war criminal. Dave said Ehud Barak and Ehud Olmert did. Ehud Olmert did in a May article in Haaretz, where he said that he can't defend Israel from charges of genocide anymore. He said that it's a war of devastation, it's indiscriminate, limitless, cruel, and criminal killing of civilians. I'm reading that on a different screen right now. But this is the case. Even former Israeli prime ministers and dissidents within Israel are acknowledging this. So this is where this is at. This is why, all going on while American pro-Zionists are doubling down and saying, no, there's nothing to see here. Isolated incidents. It's all propaganda. Hamas, if they gave up their hostages, the war could end tomorrow. Even though Hamas has 50 hostages, they're willing to give them all up. As we know from the ceasefire, Netanyahu violated the ceasefire. It's Netanyahu that has about 3,500 Palestinian hostages.
So that's your defense. That yes, he starved to death, but it was also, with these other complications. This was the big one where the New York Times had that big picture of the starving baby, and then they made a big thing out of being like, no, but he had other medical, problems too. And then the mother had said, the mother said that the doctors told her that the reason they had other medical problems is because she was malnourished during pregnancy. It's like, okay, so yes, you are right, Israel defenders. The kids starving to death are the ones who have other complications. That's always who dies first in famines. I don't know what victory you think this is, but so since this point, since the International Court of Justice ruled it was plausibly a genocide, the 21 months up to today, since then, I know at least to Ehud Omar and Ehud Barak, both former prime ministers of Israel, have come out and said in Gaza. Now they didn't call it a genocide; they called it war crimes. That's where your debate is at this point. Where are we between genocide and war? What area in there does this occupy? But how the fuck do you defend any of that, dude?
Yeah, none of it can truly be defended. And when people try, it's pathetic. When Americans try to say that all this is Hamas is doing, somehow blaming the entire genocide on Hamas. Yeah, I'm sorry. Over 7th in the killing of about 1,200 people or so, some of which, by the way, might have been killed by the IDF, at least if you listen to some of the hostages released saying that Israel issued the Hannibal Directive. That was essentially an order for IDF soldiers to shoot as many people as possible so that they wouldn't become hostages. But anyways, that doesn't give Israel unlimited license to conduct a genocide in Gaza. And where is the American government in this? Just looking the other way, doubling down. Trump truth socialing about how great of a war hero Netanyahu is just completely sickening. And Trump joining a war for Netanyahu's sake in Iran, which could the actual U.S. interests in negotiating with Iran, which would have been good. We would have had a new inspections regime. But now we have this war, and if I'm an Iranian nationalist, I want us getting a new canal. That's where we're at. So this is a sick, just pathetic, duplicitous, megalomaniacal campaign of death.
Not megalomaniacal, goddamn, bro. He's pulling out words on it.
If you ask an average American layman on the street, they care much more about their family's well-being, being able to afford a house, college, or healthcare, or food, or fuel, carve out a better future for themselves in America. Our liberty is not over in the Middle East or in Israel or in Gaza. It's in America. And domestic concerns are of the utmost importance compared to these issues. I only follow these issues because I'm forced to. This is where my government is sending my money, and taxpayers in general. They're sending it to Ukraine and Israel, rather than allowing us to have our money back that's taken through a giant extortion apparatus, that being the government and the IRS process. So that's where we're at. I really appreciate Dave's words on this. I think he's exactly right here. And you see people on the right even turning against this. Megyn Kelly recently had Marjorie Taylor Greene on her show, and she was very pro-Israel in that interview, but she dared to ask Marjorie Taylor Greene a few questions and dared to invite Marjorie Taylor Greene on her program. And what's happening to her? She's talked about how there's a massive pushback campaign against her just for platforming. Marjorie Taylor Greene is enough just for asking some questions. Asking questions is akin to anti-Semitism to a lot of this crowd, right? So that's where we're at. But you do see people on the right peeling away from this thing. I don't know where we go from here, or the political pressure will be enough to change things, because the AIPAC lobby certainly has its influence carved out in this administration, hardcore. It's probably the most pro-Israel administration of all time. But Let's hope for a better tomorrow. That's all we can do. We need to keep educating people on this and let the world know about these atrocities. That's the only way. But I do want to hear from you. Do you agree with Dave Smith down below? Do you think Americans in general are jumping ship on this pro-Israel attitude? And what do you think the end game is here? Is this genocide going to be able to...
When this story hits the airwaves, it's going to transform people's opinion about the CIA and the depths to which CIA will dive. You have somebody inside you. So I got to try to.
Might make sense for you at this moment to screenshot. And so many of you don't even know that you haven't beaten you a long time to get approved by the CIA.
Correct. So all CIA officers sign a lifetime secrecy agreement. And that secrecy agreement gives CIA the right to approve or disapprove any operational elements of our background that are still classified and that fit under this very kind of narrow rubric of sources and methods of active intelligence collection. Because of my time at CIA, my work at CIA, and the sensitivity of that work, I just kind of assumed I would never be able to talk about it. And then all that changed with the first Trump administration.
What was the CIA's response when you said that you wanted to talk about what you're going to talk about today?
Well, that's what's interesting. They had two different responses. When I first submitted the request in 2019 to CIA to write about my operational background, we went through kind of some normal bureaucratic back and forth, and they ultimately said, yes, you can write about it in detail. And then in 2021, when we submitted the manuscript and it was complete, the world started to change. In 2022, multiple major issues erupted between major adversaries of the United States, and CIA came back and removed their previous permission. They basically said that in light of current geopolitics, everything in the book was now reclassified.
How did you get the CIA to change their mind so that you could release this book and talk about what you're going to talk about today?
We engaged with an attorney, one of the top attorneys in the space of classified information and publishing information. So the attorney believed that because of the effort that my wife and I put into the book, CIA would back off. And ultimately, that is what they did. When we threatened them with a First Amendment lawsuit, they came back and said, we don't want to go down that road. We think we can collaborate on this. We'll approve your book and you can move forward.
Why do you think they didn't want you to publish this book and this story to get out?
When this story hits the airwaves, it's going to transform people's opinion about CIA in two big ways. First, they'll understand that CIA is not what the movies portray it to be. It's not superhuman spies who go out there like James Bond or Jason Bourne, who are one man against the world. That's not how espionage works. Espionage is a team sport. You have wins, you have losses. The second thing is they'll start to understand the depths to which CIA will dive to collect intelligence that protects Americans. Inside this book, we talk about a mole that actually penetrated CIA that CIA has never acknowledged. Inside this book, we talk about new tactics that CIA learned from terrorism and then used against our own most strategic adversaries. I don't think people recognize that CIA is morally ambivalent to how it executes espionage operations. The goal is to keep Americans safe.
When you say in this book, you disclose that there was a mole within the CIA, what does that mean for someone that doesn't know what a mole in the CIA is?
One of the worst things that can happen to an intelligence service is that one of its own officers becomes a spy for a foreign adversary. That is what I'm referring to when I talk about a mole.
And you were involved in that operation. Things popped into my head as you said that. The first was there's obviously a huge conversation at the moment around TikTok.
When you think about a double agent, when you think about a spy who turns on their own country, it's less about thinking that they're paid to do it. Spies aren't motivated usually by money. We weren't motivated by money. We're motivated by that very public.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important. The shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel brought a highly lethal weapon with him. It's on his first grade classroom at Sandy Hook Elementary.
That's what you have to do if you're trying to build a current case. Because if they acknowledge we actually have some reason to believe that he might have been an agent. Now all of a sudden, everybody else out there would start destroying evidence and start hiding evidence and start making the case much more difficult. So if they knew, they would say they don't know.
Do you think he was an agent?
I think he could have been. I think he fits the model of a very good reporting asset, but I don't have enough evidence to say that he was actually one.
Do you think he was?
I mean, even if he was, I don't know that it matters, is what I think. Like, even if he was, that doesn't mean that it's connected, because he was a lot of things. So I think people are focused on it because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because it would be interesting if he was, and it would be interesting if there was this conspiracy. I think that's why people are focused on it. But I don't know that it really matters, because in the grand scheme of things, it could be a lot of things that led,
Why are we talking about a dead guy who's not reported?
Let's talk about where you think morality comes from. So in the religious view, obviously there are certain things that I believe are capable of understanding by any sentient human being. So I don't believe that all human beings in the absence of religion are immoral people who go around murdering their neighbors and raping their sisters. I think that and in fact this is pretty well embedded in even Judaic philosophy, the idea that there is a sort of natural law theology where you as just a normal person know not to kill people and know not to steal and know to set up courts of law. This is what they call the seven commandments to Noah. But the idea is that anyone can basically discover these things. And there are universals across culture about you're not supposed to murder your brother. But the biblical reading is that to reach a more sophisticated level of morality that leads to a sort of right-based society we see here, you at least need the catalyzing enzyme of a Judeo-Christian religion in order to get here. That would, I think, be the most rationalistic argument on behalf of Judeo-Christian values.
But where is here again?
Here would be a civilization that values individual rights above the values of the collective, that says that people are to be treated, to use the biblical phrase, as made in the image of God, that we should treat individuals as made in the image of God. That does not happen in the absence of
FanDuel Sportsbook and Casino.
Always trying to get somebody to gamble. FanDuel.
A Judeo-Christian value system.
I'm not a
that's the religious
gambler.
argument. So which
although that is more of a historical argument.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's a rationalistic argument, because the deeply religious argument would be God said so, so do it, right? But that's not the argument that I think is the most compelling, because that only works if you believe in God and if you believe in revelation. So that's not the argument that I tend to make, because I don't find it intellectually convincing. It's an argument from authority, which of course is not particularly convincing. So I tend to make the historical argument, which is that history brought us to that the reason we are at this point in history is because without that particular catalyzing enzyme, you don't get what you have here, which is why the West and Western civilization crop up in a Judeo-Christian system, but don't crop up in, for example, Islamic countries, and Islam's been around for 1,000 years. So number one, what do you make of that argument? And then I want to get into where you think morality comes from.
Right. Well, a few points. One, I'm not convinced by that historical argument. I think you can cherry pick the data either way and come up with a different conclusion. And even if I agreed with it, it wouldn't make the case I think you want to make, because it'd be an instance of what's called the genetic fallacy, which is even if we granted that our respect for individual rights, say, came from tradition, it doesn't mean that it can only come from there, or that it even is best gotten from there. And I would say that it actually hasn't come principally from there. And there are many ways. So, for instance, you could say that Christianity, in particular, was in part responsible for the fall of the Roman Empire. So Christianity undermined the notion that the Roman emperor was a god. It made it harder to recruit true soldiers, and they had to farm it out to mercenaries, and it eroded what you might call traditional Roman values. And then the Western Empire fell, and we ushered in the Dark Ages. And insofar as there was a reboot to civilization at that point, it was largely the result of the learning and the philosophical insight of antiquity being preserved by, of all people, the Muslims.
Right.
So I think you can have it any way you want looking at history, but it just doesn't get you there in terms of the moral content and in this case, the political or social content coming from
the Bible or any other religious text.
So then why here? Meaning like why in Judeo-Christian civilization, but not Islamic civilization? Because you mentioned rediscovery of Aristotle and reuse of Aristotle in 10th and 11th centuries was really beginning, in the Islamic world long before Aquinas really repopularized it in the 13th and 14th centuries.
Yeah. Well, one, I think it's, from my point of view, it's impossible to ignore the influence of Islam. Islam is its own ideology and set of dogmatisms that are inflexible and at odds with the spirit of science fundamentally. And despite the fact that there was a brief period where there seemed to be some happy convergence between scientific and mathematical insight and Islam, for the most part, Islam has been hostile to real intellectual life, and in a way that Christianity was hostile even when the scientific worldview was struggling to be born in the 16th century and the 15th century. What we have historically is a real war of ideas. I mean, that just be crystallized in the moment where Galileo was shown the instruments of torture and put under house arrest by people who refused to look through his telescope. Right, and so that was the genius of religion paired with the emerging genius of science in that room.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Galileo was originally sponsored by the church, and so is Copernicus. But there's no question there's a backlash from the church to this stuff.
Yes, and the backlash makes sense because there is a intellectual progress on questions of how the cosmos is organized or where it came from or how life began. All of these questions are the scientific answers to which are in zero-sum contest with the doctrines found in the books. Now, it's true that there are religious people, and now even the Pope, who have relaxed their adherence to tradition enough to make room for something like evolution, right? But it is still a problem.
Not a super new idea. I mean, right? Aquinas was talking about this in the 13th century and 14th century. The idea that if it was in science and it was contradicted by the book, then you're misreading the book. Right? I mean, that's a pretty old idea.
Yeah, but that is to subvert science rather than the book in Aquinas' case. I mean, Aquinas thought heretics should be put to death. Right? His argument for that, for capital punishment for heresy. And Augustine made the same argument. Augustine thought they should be tortured, right? So that those two great lights of the Catholic Church gave us the Inquisition, gave us more than a century.
But I think it's also fair to say that they were rather instrumental in the development of modern science. So the Dark Ages. First of all, I think the Dark Ages are a bit of an exaggeration in terms of the Dark Ages themselves saw a massive growth in technology and architecture, for example. I mean, Gothic cathedrals are built during the Dark Ages. But the scientific world is, well, virtually every major university in the Western world was sponsored by the Catholic Church. And I'm not a great Catholic defender, right? But virtually all major universities were sponsored by the Catholic Church, which saw consonance between science and religion as a reason to actually investigate the natural world.
Well, no, I mean, I think that's backwards. I think the reality is there was everything that was good that was done anywhere at any time prior to, pick your year, was done by some religious person. There was just nobody else to do the job, right? So you could make the argument that, Catholics built every bridge in Europe until the Protestants came around and they built their half of the bridges. And so there was just no one else to do the job. And we're human beings who want to pursue various ends, many of which require breakthroughs in learning. So, engineering got born in a religious context. Physics was, the first physicists were people who were Christians, who were, as is often pointed out, Newton spent half his time worrying about biblical prophecy. Now, I think that was an objective waste of his time. He also spent a lot of his time worrying about astrology, right? So, you're trying to
alchemy,
yes, and alchemy, and alchemy, insofar as there was anything to it, apart from sort of the internal myth making that may be of use to some people, edged into chemistry, right? So there was often a real science at the back of a lot of merely mortal confusion where people were trying to work things out. I would argue very much under the shadow of religious commitments that they need not have had and were not actually serving their ultimate ends. And this for me is true in the moral sphere as well, because this is why the Bible, in my view, can't be the real repository of our moral wisdom in any sense, because when you go to read it, you are forced to ignore certain passages or reinterpret them rather aggressively to conform to what you now in the 21st century have every reason to believe is good or a direction worth going socially. So, it is just an inconvenient fact that slavery is endorsed in the Bible. It's explicitly endorsed in the Old Testament, and it's certainly not repudiated in the New, right? And Jesus told slaves to serve their masters and serve their Christian masters especially well. So there's no place in the Bible where you can get a truly compelling case against slavery, because the creator of the universe clearly expected slavery to be a human institution.
Well, except for abolitionists finding enough inspiration in the
But
Bible to use it as the main text.
They did that despite what's in the Bible.
Well, I think that is, I mean, I don't want to. This shouldn't sound insulting because it's not meant as an insult. I think that from a religious point of view, that's a simplistic reading of the Bible's role in human affairs, meaning that when any written document is given to any group of people, it has to be given to people in a way that they can understand. It's not that slavery was endorsed by the Bible, it's that slavery is universal among human civilization until modern times.
But there were religions that have different points of view on all these questions, right? So it was possible in the 5th century BC to have a take on ethics with respect to something like slavery, or the killing of combatants or non-combatants, that was quite a bit more modern and ethical and civilized than that is found in the Bible. So I mean, you might not like some of their other commitments, but take something like Jainism, right? Jainism, Gandhi got his nonviolence from Jainism. Jainism is just, in truth, a religion of peace, unlike Islam, which is the word peace is a euphemism for the word surrender there, or submission. So it's possible for people 2,500 years ago to wake up one day and even write a book which suggests don't harm anyone or anything, even a cricket.
Right. Well, that's fine. But the question is, how many converts does Jainism have? Meaning that the point of, if you're going to give a book over, let's pretend that you thought that God existed and that you were he, and it was your job to convey to a group of human beings what you think morality should be, understanding that they're going to take that and develop that because we do have this gift of human reason that we use to develop things. And so there's a root text, and then it is developed over time. This is why I think Judaism is particularly kind of unique in this respect, because that's been an ongoing dialectic for literally thousands of years. I mean, there's legitimately, thousands of pages of tractates of just people arguing about these particular issues. You would say that the argument should have started from the point of there was no.
I recently rented an amazing RV from RVZ for a family getaway. The booking process was easy, and the owner even delivered the RV right to our
text for them to argue about, and they should have just argued from sort of a priori reason.
I respect text, but I think the principle of revelation is a problem. Just to back up for a second, I think it's certainly problematic for you as a Jew to argue that the legitimacy or success of a religion is best measured by the number of adherents in year 2018. Right?
No, but the point of Judaism also is that it says in the Bible itself that God is going to make great peoples of all of Abraham's sons, for example. And as Maimonides put it in the Jewish belief, even the growth of Islam and Christianity, which are obviously based on a certain Judaic root. I think Islam less so, because there's an actual rewriting of the Old Testament, and the New Testament not as much. Maimonides suggested that Christianity had basically been brought about as an extension of Judaism, which is the greatest, Christianity is the greatest converting religion in the history of the world.
Right. So, but it seems strange to count at the success in terms of numbers of Christianity and Islam, given that
the basic principle, the bottom line is the basic principles of Judaism, those have been embraced in a way that the basic principles of Jainism have not across time, and they've shaped civilizations in a way that is significantly better than the principles of Jainism have shifted any number of small people, or small group of people, not small people, obviously.
Well, so again, it's just the fact that you and I could improve the Bible with very little thought, just by taking out, if we just took out the worst passages that have no possible redeemable content this year, or I would argue any other year, right? The Bible's already improved, right? So the fact that we could edit it to anyone's advantage is a problem for the idea that this is was written by an omniscient being and not to be superseded by any human effort now or generations from now. And it's a problem not just for the Bible, it's a problem for the Quran. That and this notion of revelation is what gets us there. Now, if you're going to treat all books as the product of just human minds, brilliant or not, and every shelf in the bookstore or library has the same status with respect to the merely mortal provenance of these ideas, then it's fine. Then you can pick and choose the best ideas, right? And then you can be slavishly attached to, the Plato's Republic, and that can be your favorite book. But what Revelation gets you is this notion that no, this isn't just a book, right? This is the product of omniscience on some level, and that ties your hands intellectually, because then you are forced to make these acrobatic contortions around passages which clearly have no good application now and didn't even have a good application then. And when you view it from the other side, when you think about just how good a book would be if an omniscient being wrote it, I mean, that is it's very easy to see what could be in there that would still astonish us. I mean, it's very easy to see what could be in there that would prove, just based on the time of its emergence, that this couldn't have been the product of merely human minds. And there's nothing like that in the Bible.
So to respond to some of those points, I think that there's a lot there. So I'm going to try and kind of parse it as we go. I think that one of the arguments that is made, certainly in the Talmud, is the idea that human reason was generated in order to help reason through the Bible, basically. That the Bible is not just, here it is, obey it, but it is also a constant conversation between God and man, in the sense that there is a active conversation that goes into the interpretation of these texts. And so what the Bible really is an anchor, and the ship is anchored to the anchor, but there is still some slack in the line, meaning that it is not that you are now tied to this anchor at the bottom of the ocean. There's still a boat that's attached, but human reason is designed in order so that you can wobble through with this anchor attached to you. And if without the anchor, you end up in a land of utopianism. And I think the history of the 19th and 20th century in the Dostoevskian view would be a good example of how that happens. And so the construction of alternate morality that is not based on any Judeo-Christian notions can take you in any number of horrible places that are significantly worse in virtually every way than the places that Judeo-Christian religion brought you for 2,000 years. My argument is not that Judeo-Christianity itself, Judaism on its own, is everything that you need, right? As an Orthodox Jew, my argument is not that. My argument, which if it were, then I wouldn't be out there caring about science or about nature, as you say. But people who are fundamentalists don't care about any of those things. They think everything you need to know is found in this particular book. I don't think I know how to fix my car from the Bible. Right. But what I do think is that in the Straussian view, there's a tension between Athens and Jerusalem. There's a tension between revelation and reason. And that without either one of these things, that reason without revelation ends up in utopias of our own creation that can end up in horrifying places, ranging from death camps to gulags. And that revelation without reason ends up in theocratic tyranny. And so you do need both of those in an interchange in order to have something that means something. And the reason that
I wish I could just watch live sports at home for a great price.
Choose and customize your channel layout, or pause and watch for free. Sling lets you do that. Face pack required.
Omniscience matters is because if there is no belief in an objective level of moral truth, then everything becomes subject to interpretation, up to and including, if you were intellectually honest enough, laws like murder, because maybe murder doesn't apply to people who are outside my tribe, maybe it doesn't apply to people who are outside my family, or people I just want to kill for my own benefit. So this is where we get into the alternative moral. So this is where I'm going to ask you about your moral basis. So
let me respond to some of that.
Sure.
There's a lot there. So it's not going to surprise you that I disagree with that summary.
This is the fun part, yeah.
So to take your anchor, I think there is an anchor, or at least a foundation to everything we can discover or value, and it's human conversation, right? And I think the morality, because I think revelation simply didn't happen, right?
Right.
It's just human beings talking to one another at any point in history, thinking internally. And they've been extraordinary people, and they've had extraordinary insights, and they've shared them, and they've codified them in books. So the morality or pseudo-morality or barbaric morality that you find in various places in various texts was put there by people, right? It's not that it came from some other source and that we need to be anchored to it. It is the record of a merely human conversation that I'll be the first to admit has in various parts real value and real wisdom in it, and hence the reason why people are so attached to some of it, certainly. But it's just that's not unique for the Bible. That you can find that among Greek philosophers or various places in antiquity, and you can find it in modern variants. I mean, you and I, in one another's presence here, having a conversation that gets recorded, we can say something that is highly relevant to the question of how to live a good life. And if we were doing this 3,000 years ago and it happened to get written down, it would be one of the lines that people would think had been revealed if they lost track of what its actual source was. And so it's people like ourselves that have always done this work. And so the basic framework here is that all we have is human conversation, and all we can appeal to are honest efforts to get at the truth here. And the choice for me is between a 21st century conversation where we avail ourselves of all of the intellectual tools we can get in hand, and that includes whatever is good in religion, right? So if there's something that is in Ecclesiastes that is better put there than any place else in the canon of all of human knowledge, then of course we want to keep that, right? So
how do you decide what is the good? Because right now you're essentially playing Cotty under the tree, right? You get to sit there and say, here's a good moral standard, here's a bad moral standard, and you and I will sit here and our conversation will be better than a conversation 1,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. There's a question that I asked you actually last time we spoke publicly, and the question is, okay, so if that's the case, you and I tend to agree, I would think, on probably 95% of our central values about what it is that makes for a good life, right? I think that we both believe in individual freedoms. I think we both believe in the ability to live as you choose, so long as you're not hitting anybody else in the face, as a general rule. I think that we both agree on all of these things. And so what I asked you last time is, why do we agree on these things? Is it because we just both happen to be super reasonable, like we are just the most reasonable people who ever lived, and we just happen to be here at this time, and why didn't people 1,000 years ago know this? Or is it, back to my original argument, the fact that we grew up probably 10 miles from each other in a city that was built in a country that was built by people who believed all of these things that came from a book, half of which you think is crap, from from 1,000 years before Christ?
Well, so I think the environment in which we grew up, insofar as this is a product of culture, is not mostly defined by the Judeo-Christian tradition. It's mostly defined by secular politics and secular ethics that have, some of which are of a piece with those religions and other religions. Something like the Golden Rule. I mean, the Golden Rule predates Christianity, certainly. It's in Leviticus, I think. And
love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yeah, and but it's not unique there too. I mean, there are Greek philosophers. I think Epictetus articulated it someplace. The truth is, it predates our humanity on some basic level. You can see evidence of it in monkeys, right? There's an expectation of fairness even in monkeys, right? And so this is we're running a software program that is morally relevant to us, that is riddled with bugs, but that predates our humanity. And so largely what civilization is, the good parts of culture that will lead to something that is durable at the level of civilization, largely correct for our merely hominid, merely evolved, merely creaturely.
If there's anything I know, there's no wrong way. As long as it's you.
Moral intuition. So for instance, you and I have as front and center in our moral hardware a sense of disgust. right? And disgust has roots below anything that could be considered moral. It's just, you can smell something bad and you feel like vomiting, and that's so. But the truth is, in terms of the evolution of the brain doesn't evolve new modules that can do fundamentally new things. It has to evolve capacities that are predicated on the old hardware that was anchored to things like, I'm going to vomit based on that smell.
Right.
And much of our moral thinking about the world is disgust-based or fear-based, and it gets applied to things like how you feel about gay marriage, say. So you go into a Bible-thumping fundamentalist Christian context where you can find people who are just adamant that gay marriage is wrong. This disgust circuitry is tuned up through the lens of that social question, and so I view conversation about ethical truth and progress in ethical space being more a matter of reasoning and unhooking our reflexive, in this case, disgust-based intuitions from our sense of what is ultimately good. I mean, there are things that you and I might not be comfortable with the first time we consider them, that we can get comfortable with by thinking it through or imagining things from other people's
Or at the very least
perspectives.
that we think are immoral and but still think that we have no business in doing anything
Yeah,
about.
yeah, and ultimately, there are cases of kind of moral dumbfounding where you would have to admit that it's moral in the sense that you can't point to a victim, right? And
Right,
yet,
Jonathan Haidt talks about experiments like this, like somebody who's having sex with a dead chick.
but it still disgusts you. Like, or I mean, to take it out of the moral sphere for a second, if I told you, well, I have Jeffrey Dahmer's sweater, it's been dry cleaned. Would you try it on? Right? Now, everyone recoils from that, right? But it's not, if you actually think about it, it's not something that, there's kind of a magical fruit in there where you think that something that's been deposited in the sweater, even though, we dry cleaned it, 450 times, right? So it's, maybe a sweater is too charged, but to take something where there would be absolutely no question that his DNA, it's not covered with this creepy guy's DNA. It's something that you just, in order to recoil from it, you are thinking superstitiously, right? So you can correct for those.
So you're making a sociobiological explanation for morality, like basically it's an E.O. Wilson explanation for the evolution of morality?
No, so to the contrary, I think that there are two very different ways to talk about morality with respect to our scientific understanding of ourselves. One is what you just referenced, this biological, evolutionary, descriptive story of how we got here. Why is it that we're the sort of apes that feel these sorts of ways about social interactions, say, right? And why is our moral thinking anchored to those properties? Then there's a completely separate question, which is the question that interests me morally, which is, given what we are, given where we are right now, what is possible for us? How good could human life be? And what are the principles of neurobiology and everything else, economics, sociology, genetics, anything that can be brought to bear to change human experience? What are the principles whereby we can navigate in the space of all possible experience and experience better and better lives and a better and better world? And so that is a very different question, because it presupposes, I think, just on its face, that we have to, most of our job is to fly the perch that has been prepared to it.
Right, and I think you and I agree on this, but I'm not sure why.
The landscape of modern 80s, if Christopher Hitchens was the thunderous orator and Richard Dawkins was the rigorous scientist, then Sam Harris has always been the cool, calm, and deeply unsettling voice of reason. As you've all seen, he doesn't shout his arguments, he whispers them with a chilling precision that can be far more destructive. Harris didn't just enter the conversation to debate the existence of God, he arrived to ask a more dangerous and fundamental question. In a world where we largely abandon faith for facts in science, and medicine, why do you still give religion a free pass, man? So it's no surprise that his work is a relentless examination of the consequences of belief, and it forces everyone, atheists and believers alike, into a corner of uncomfortable honesty. Now let's take it back a little. Harris's impact began exploding with his first book, The End of Faith, published in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. While others debated foreign policy, Harris went straight for the ideological jugular. He argued that the attacks were not
Tony's had his fair share of awkward moments and bad
I'm gonna have to
comments,
take a
but
break
nothing
in a
derails
minute.
an episode faster than a terrible guest. These are appearances so painfully bad they dragged entire episodes down and left the audience tearing them apart online. Dude is unbearable and not funny, and it seemed like he was even getting on Tony's nerves. Kurt Metzger silenced the room every time he spoke. I don't know who Kurt is, but I think he bombed more than any comedian on this episode. These were just a few of the comments fans shared after Kurt's last two appearances on Kill Tony.
So Kurt, if you guys don't know, I'll catch you up real quick. Kurt Metzger is
Like every Kurt Metzger appearance, it was awkward from the start. The energy immediately dropped when he sat down, offering nothing to the panel or the comics. The few times he tried to join in, his jokes fell flat, draining any momentum the show had built up.
You should get a job like scamming rich people for a living in Hollywood. That's the best living, dude. You bring like a didgeridoo, just walk on the beach. You'll get into adventures with them.
22 years. But the situation completely unraveled when David Lucas stepped up and started roasting Kurt.
Fat girl pussy be like 40 degrees hotter than other girls.
Overpriced things I have ever seen be sold repetitively is men's razors. Going into the store and seeing that you have.
All right, man. Thank God. Yeah.
I love it. Love to see it. And
Hey, this look like Ari Shaffir daddy. Daddy, yeah.
Hell yeah. He got you. He just,
That look like an Iranian version of George Jefferson. That look, top of his head looked like a screen door.
Jesus Christ. I was about to compliment the science on the 40 degrees hotter federal picture. Well, just the pressure. It's like, that's what creates, it sounds like a lot, 40 degrees, but that's about right.
You drink White Claw, I don't trust you.
he is
Why do you
loud
like
and
Claw
white.
shade?
That is incredible.
Are you a 19-year-old white bitch?
I don't think 19-year-old white bitches are out here doing Michael Landon shit.
I can't believe that.
Absolutely.
Let Kurt Metzger talk. It looked like Wolverine's daddy want to say something. This look like Saddam Hussein's right-hand man.
Tony looks like he cobbles those for a living. Let's go.
I made every joke in the world against that.
Where were you in Canada?
David certainly has his share of controversies. Kurt's subsequent behavior revealed even more about his character. Initially, Kurt pretended to be a good sport, laughing along with the jokes. He even shook David's hand afterward, but you could see Kurt was clearly humiliated.
Yeah,
When William Montgomery came
bro,
up later, Kurt made a
I'm
weak attempt
not
at
even gonna lie, yo. Like, so in order for me to get my details like this, I'm sitting like close to the easel, and my knees. I obviously have to sit like this with my knees at a damn near 90-degree angle to get this close to the camera. Yo, this knee being bent like this whole time fucking hurts, bro. I need to go sit down and stretch my damn leg out, because I don't know. Ever since I did squats the other day, yo, this fucking knee right here does not want to act right, bro. And like that shit just feels like, I don't know. It's a weird kind of throbbing to it. I don't know what the fuck, but the longer I stay in this position, that shit hurts. Yo, I've never had pain just sitting down trying to fucking paint, bro. But it feels like I need to stretch my legs out. I mean, I don't know, and it's not comfortable. I tried to get it squared away some kind of way earlier, and I can't do it, bro. Like I'm so used to painting the way that I sit like this. But my fucking knee, bro. I think I need to go stretch this shit out and put a fucking ice pack on it or something. Old man shit, bro. Old man shit. And then I don't know, I went heavy with my squats, and I haven't went heavy in a while, and I really don't need to go heavy. I got scrawny chicken legs. I'm never gonna have massive thighs. I just need to like accept that shit, bro. I don't give a fuck how heavy you lift, bro. Your legs aren't gonna grow much more than they are now. So I need to just stop that shit, honestly. And do just lighter weights and higher reps. Just do more reps of the light weights. But no, my dumb ass want to go in there and try to be a goddamn power lifter. And this is all week. So I did legs on Tuesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and today. This is the third day, bro. Like my shit don't feel good. Laying them kneeling chairs. I need something. Oh, I am not a happy camper right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit. It feels like oldness. I feel like I'm getting it. It ain't no other reason than just other than, bro, you're getting old, man. You don't got the knees of a 19-year-old anymore. You know, simple as that, bro. That's all it is. A little bit of cartilage deterioration or something that's going on in there. It's signs of the time, nigga. Slow down a little bit and act your fucking age, bro. Nobody in the gym gives a fuck what you in there doing or how much you squat, and just act your fucking age. Stop pretending like you fucking 20 or even in your 30s still, bro. You're not even in your 30s no more. Calm the fuck down with all that extra shit. Because you're going to hurt yourself. And you're going to get one of these old men injuries that don't heal so well. Now they talking about replacing your knee or replacing your hip. I ain't trying to do all that shit, man. Replace my knees. I'm good. I'm good. I just won't squat heavy no more. Cause my knees can't take that shit. But damn near, I say 3 days, and that shit still feel like that. Where I can't fucking paint. But you're sitting down, yeah. But I'm sitting in the wrong position. What the fuck? The position matters. The position definitely matters, bro. It definitely matters what position you're sitting in. Man. We did a good 3 hours. We did have breakfast, you know, ate breakfast up here. But we got a lot of shit in. I don't even know why I'm fucking around with that, really. So we finished her glasses, her jewelry. We added some highlights to the pants. Next thing, we're gonna move to the table. Like I said, I already know the coffee table isn't gonna need a lot of second detailing. Might as well fuck with this couch a little bit since I'm in with the bright whites anyway. That's what I'm talking about. Make it bright. Make it shine. Mm-hmm. Fuck me, dude. All right. All right, let me take a little stretcher. Just stretch out for a second. All right, we had us a pretty decent breakfast this morning. You know what I'm saying? I should probably push my lunch back a little bit because that steak probably sitting there for a minute. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Fuck. I'm trying so hard not to take like some pain medication. I think I got some Aleve or I don't know. I don't want to start taking that shit. Oh, my knee hurting. Somebody give me some Tylenol. Fuck. I swear I don't want to do that, but if this shit continues to get any worse, But I might have to make a doctor's appointment just for the X-ray and see like, did I pull something or did I pull my kneecap? Can you pull your kneecap? I don't know if you can sprain your kneecap because it's like that shit is like just right behind my kneecap, like right in there. I feel like I sprained my kneecap bone. I need to go stretch out. I appreciate y'all chilling in here with me this morning, man. Go start calling me the old man. Oh boy, we got some shit done though. I don't know. It seems like once again, I ran my mouth more than I be painting and sitting here eating and shit more than I be painting. But I think we covered like some really good details in here. It's down to the wire now, really. I honestly don't think I'm gonna deal with the background anymore at all. Well, I'm like, I see one spot I do want to tighten up is right here. I only noticed it when I was painting her glasses, is that line is cut off right there. And so I want to just pull that line down. It just looks so awkward. Everything is wavy and not straight and not even all the way down, but I do want to like make that line come straight. I don't know how I overlap that paint right there. But that's probably like the only thing on the background that I'm gonna fuck with. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. And that's only because it's right by her face. Like you can see it now when I point it out. Yeah, clean them up a little bit. Because I ain't see it the whole time until, like I said, I did her glasses. And I'm like, man, the background, I think that's done. I just added a bunch of white highlights. There's a little more. I can put like a dab of white here and here. And I think like on this area right here, dab a little white paint. That couch is done. Her pants is done. I give a little time to her hair just to get some of these highlights to pop out a little bit. That's done. This table, like I said, I may just really right here where it's light and you can see like a small transition from the shadows that the books are casting. I'm really just thinking about trying to beef up the transition or the contrast. God damn. Beef up the contrast between the shadow just so this is a little more prominent just by lightening this up a little bit. And then that's fucking it. I may put a little highlights on this part of the wood grain. And then the last thing is the fucking books, bro. So, like I say, definitely by next weekend. I got all day today, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I really feel like it's mostly done. We are at that point, bro. It's mostly done. So this little 3 hours, like it was a pretty good session. Like I say, clean up a few little spots on here and a little more details, and we'll be done, yeah. Oh man. Yeah, if that shadow will really weight it down to the table. Like you say, without that floating feeling. Shadows is what anchor us to reality. All right, man. I appreciate you again. I hope you have a good day, and we'll get together in the next one. Peace. We out of here.